Welcome back to BZen TV. In today's episode, we're talking about love, dating, and Hollywood's hottest couples with celebrity matchmaker Rori Sassoon. In case you guys haven't heard, we've officially entered cuffing season, which is something that I always thought was a bit of a joke, but according to experts, during the time period from the beginning of fall until Valentine's Day, more people really do get into relationships based on emotional factors and evolutionary physiology. For example, from an evolutionary perspective, back in the day, people would have to huddle together for warmth, and now there's the emotional aspect of not wanting to feel lonely during the holidays. I think we've all been there. So to bring you guys up to speed before we dive in with Rori, she's a mother, wife, podcast host of the Raw with Rori podcast, author of the book The Art of the Date, and co-founder of Platinum Poire, a power couple matchmaking service in NYC, creating Platinum Pairs. Her company has been featured on NBC and in the New York Times, and she even went on the Real Housewives of New York to help our favorite housewives try to find their matches. Stay tuned for Rori's tips on finding and keeping a relationship going long after cuffing season and our celebrity love life analysis.
Rori, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for having me. This is so much fun.
It is so great to see you. And tell us a little bit more about what you do on a day-to-day basis as a matchmaker. Give us a little bit of insight into your life and like what you love about it.
You know, it's so fascinating that I really have the opportunity. I'm really fortunate and lucky, first of all, to do something that I love. You know, I love love, and I love connecting people. I love to share. So whether it's information, whether it's you need a great facialist, whatever it might be, that's just always innately part of who I am from a child. But
you're a connector.
Yes. And I love that. And it's so effortless for me. So why not connect people in a way that can actually change their life for the better?
Right. Because relationships are like the number one predictor of our happiness. So if we can have someone in our corner like you know, helping to vet people. You talk about how you're not a fan of dating apps. And I feel like that is so, I love that. I love that you think that, because so many people really do rely on the digital media world for their dating and relationships. Why do you not like to use that and prefer to have an in-person experience of matchmaking?
You know, I have to tell you, I know I'm the kind of person, like, I'm not a texter, right? Like, I'm going to text you for, you know, something really insignificant and really very non-emotional. Okay.
And what's your zodiac sign, Rori?
I am a Sagittarius.
Okay. That's my rising sign. That's why we were talking at that party. Okay.
But I have to say, when you are matchmaking and you are, in a sense, really hand-holding, you're helping people. An app cannot tell you all the things that you are doing wrong, right? Why am I successful in these relationships? Why am I having these relationships that last and then crash and burn? At least my partner and I and my team are here to tell you, you know what? We've gotten this feedback. We hear that, we see that you have a pattern. You know, not you, but whoever the client would be. And if there is, like, sometimes people have a habit of really coming from a place of they're hurt. Okay. They've been damaged in relationships, and they bring that baggage onto the first date. And it's also a person knowing that you want to learn, you want to evolve. An app is not doing that for you. An app is not talking back to you.
It almost brings out the worst, I feel, especially, you know, men and women are different. I feel like with women, it can bring out their insecurities. And with men, it can bring out their willingness to look around or keep looking for something better. I just think it's not good.
Right. Like always looking over your shoulder, and like not for anything. Of course, a male or female can do that, right? Like we can always be swiping for the next best thing. In my service, it really is about, first of all, an investment financially. It's an investment emotionally. You're taking your time to be vetted. You have nothing to hide, right? You're coming and saying, listen, I am a good person. I need help in this arena. I'm either too busy because I have a really high-powered career, and I'm not putting myself out there on an app because I'm uncomfortable, where I don't want someone who's not vetted. I don't want to waste my time with someone who's not safe first and foremost is about safety. On both ends, by the way, male or female.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think you just never really know who you're meeting, and we hear horror stories and all the rest. But I also love the aspect of like working with someone, because it's that emotional maturity and like personal responsibility, personal growth aspect that I think is really nice and needed when we want to, like you said, get serious about a relationship, invest in a relationship, invest in ourselves and in our love lives. I mean, what more could you want? And you talk about in your book, The Art of the Date, you teach people how to choose a relationship that's built to last. What are your tips as far as like what people should be looking for or cultivating in themselves when they get to that point when they're like, okay, I'm really ready for something more serious that goes the distance?
You know, be honest with yourself, knowing what you're ready to give in this relationship, whether that should be a long-term relationship. Is it just cuffing season? Do I just want to hook up with someone and have someone?
Yeah, you did some posts about that. You did some Instagram posts about that. Rori, what do you think about that?
So it's funny. You want to know something? I have no judgment for anyone, because who am I to really judge someone? You know, I'm very big into that. But I do think when let's say when you're looking for a genuine relationship that you really want to go the distance with this person, you know, I think that knowing, like I said, what you're ready to give in a relationship and being honest with your expectation. How many women do you know that will be like, no, I'm just having a good time. This is really just fun. But at the end of the day, the feelings become deeper, right? The more time we spend with
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
The more intimate we become with a person, it's only natural and normal, because if everything is going well, right? You know, it's okay to say, you know, I love this person. I want to be exclusive with this person. You know, a lot of times people, we lie to ourselves. We're dishonest with ourselves in the things that we want in fear of being rejected. Right?
Wow.
You know,
interesting.
A guy wants a cool girl. How many times have we, that girl, she's so cool. She's not pressure. She's easygoing. But sometimes, like, that's not really who we are. Deep down inside, we want that relationship. We want that marriage. We want that commitment. Why do we
100%.
need to be ashamed of that? So being honest with what your wants and needs are super important. It's the same thing. It's like, I know both men and women who will actually try to make it like, I love skydiving. I love hiking.
Oh, no.
You're a lazy person who doesn't like any of that, but you know, this person does.
Meanwhile, you're a tourist and you just want to like watch movies and go to nice restaurants, and that's
and that's okay. And you know,
that's great for a lot of people.
And that's great. But you know what? You're trying to change yourself for that other person.
Yep.
That's not.
And it's not going to work.
It's not going to work. You know, I always say, like, at the end of the day, opposites attract, but then they destroy each other. And what do I mean by that? Because I had this conversation with Tamron Hall on her show.
Okay.
And she battled with me a little. She goes, Rori, what do you mean? She's like, I'm a Black woman. My husband's Jewish. He's this, I'm that. I go, no, Tamron, you got it all wrong. I'm talking about it works because I'm sure that your core values are in alignment with each other. Right?
Yep.
Who cares what you look like and what your religion is and what your culture is? Like, that's not what I'm talking about. But if you both felt that your value system was completely different, and here you are, you have a baby with your husband, that would clash. That would not work. And she's like, no, you're right. You are correct. We are opposite on the outside, but clearly not on the inside.
If someone's single, listening or watching the show right now, what would you say they should start like going through as far as like their thought process, figuring out their core values? Like, what would be a core value? Like, as far as your definition?
So depending on where you are in your life, right? Like if this is a relationship where you're first getting married and wanting to have a family, like we need to discuss that, because I know if I want children and this person doesn't, that's a major conversation. If two people are not on that same page, well, then you are creating a disaster on your hands, because that's why both people should be honest. And listen, if it's something you don't know, why can't you say, you know what? I love you. This is great. I'm not sure about something like that, for whatever their reason is. You know, that's why communication and honesty is number one. Like, if you can't have that with the person that you love, you clearly don't have a relationship.
100%. Yeah. Like, if you can't be honest with that person, because it's going to be long term. Like, you can only hide things, like you said, for so long. You can only pretend to like skydiving for so long before you're just going to become resentful. And then it's just not going to work out. Right. And you've been married for over 30 years, right, Rory? You were telling me that at the party.
No, I'm married for over 21 now. 21 years.
Over 21 years. And what would you say you and your husband's core values are? Well, first of all, what's his zodiac sign?
Okay, he's an Aries. We are a perfect match.
He's amazing. Amazing. So you guys have a fiery personality together. You probably bring out the best in each other, and you probably have a lot of fun. So what core values do you share that you found as I just got married, and I'm coming up on 1 year, January 15th. So I've been learning a lot. Thank you. I've been learning a lot this year. So for our committed, people watching, what are some of like the lessons you would want to tell other people who are in relationships?
I want to tell you something. I had this conversation actually today.
Okay.
And we were talking about and saying that it's so important. You have a foundation of a friendship. You truly like each other. You truly like each other. No matter where you are, what you're doing, you could be at the fanciest restaurant, you could be at, any like dive bar, and you could just be having a great time. Like, everything else is just extra. You truly enjoy each other's company. You have respect for that person, because when you're friends with someone, there are boundaries and things that you would never do, because you wouldn't hurt your friend, right? So especially, you wouldn't hurt the person that you love, but to identify that you guys really truly are friends and you can do anything and be anywhere together, that's so important. It's like the same thing. Like, I know female, male wise, women always crave safety and security, right? They always want to feel like that person makes them safe. But men want to feel that way too. They want to know, what do I mean by that? She's not going to go psycho on me. She's not going to go, she's going to have my back also. She's going to be my biggest cheerleader. She's going to understand that when I'm working late or this is really because this is my passion. I want to be successful at what I'm doing. Yes. And she's my biggest cheerleader. Now, everybody wants to feel like a safety in their relationship, that no matter what happens, we're not judging, right? We're in that safe space not to judge. We feel comfortable. And we know no matter what happens, this person's, if it's a long-term relationship or marriage, like what we're saying, we have each other's backs and we're both in it. That's why they say, for richer or for poorer, for sickness and health, right? Like, we want to know, like, we're ride or die. We're ride or die with each other. And that's 100%. A relationship that's going to survive and thrive.
I love that. So it's all about the friendship, first and foremost. Sometimes, so anybody who's listening, we've got to just focus on that. And I totally see that too. Like, my husband is definitely my best friend. I tell him everything about like things that I wouldn't tell other people, because I know that he's never going to judge me. And
absolutely.
We definitely have that between us. So it's so important. Okay. So do you mind if we do a little bit of celebrity relationship analysis? I would love to get your thoughts on some of Hollywood's hottest couples.
Oh, I'd love that.
So first of all, I want to ask you about, and I did watch your interview with Heather on Juicy Scoop.
Yeah,
I watched that. Heather McDonald. Yep. I love her. Love Juicy Scoop. And you were talking about how you set up some of the Housewives of New York when you were on the show, and your thoughts on that. Is there anything that you kind of noticed or any like advice you would give them if they were watching this right now? Because aren't they all still single, I think? But maybe that's what they want.
Yes, I think that I think that I don't want to say all, because like that's like really judging people and not being, each one has their own shtick, right?
Yes.
But, a lot of times the problem, where I've found it a little bit more difficult is that here you have these women who, amazing, like they're successful, they've made it, right? They can pay
living their
way in life, living their truth, living the dream. As we're all able to see via Instagram, right? That's just Instagram life, right? We don't know what's real, we don't know what's not, but let's say it's all good, right? I think a lot of the men that they are attracted to are not attracted to their situation. Meaning,
Interesting.
a man who's in private equity, okay?
Okay.
A man who's super successful does not want to be on page 6. For one.
Ooh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want people digging into his past, his business, what's going on with him. He just doesn't want that. And I think a lot of times men like that truly value their privacy. They have a lot to lose, depending on what has gone on in their life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
100%.
that is a very big problem. And it's interesting because the dynamic on the other side is so different. You take a man who's on television and he can get any girl, right? It's not a big deal, but it's so much harder for a woman. And because also a lot of times men and a lot of the men that these women are attracted to, yet then again are high-powered men, most of them, right? They want someone who could pull their own weight, rightfully so, at that point, okay? But it's just, unfortunately, it's just so much harder. It's also about an ego. You know, wherever, let's say, a lot of these housewives would be, these housewives are bigger than the movie stars today.
Yeah, they're huge. I mean, they're everywhere. Their careers skyrocket. Their social media following skyrockets. They're able to launch businesses simply by being on this show and being a part of the franchise. I mean, I could see how that could cause some issues because, I mean, what I've observed with the sexes too, and with the husband, or my husband and I, our dynamic, it's like there's a very supportive dynamic where I have to carefully balance my career and my home life. And I really have to stay on top of both, I feel like. And maybe being on one of those shows wouldn't be very conducive to that.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's one thing when you're doing what you're doing, but it's also another thing you have to realize when they're on a show that's a reality TV show, what makes them interesting is their real life, right? Now, most men that I know, because I have set Ramona up on the show, twice. And it was challenging for me to find men, they would like her and they would date her in real life. But it's hard for them to be like, I don't want to be any part of the show. That's not my jam. Like, I'm not doing that, you know? I'm just not interested in that kind of fame, or I'm not, that's not cool for me. And I think that that's their life. Listen, if they were off the show tomorrow, do I think that it would probably be easier? For sure. It would be.
You think so?
Because cameras would not be following them around on their every move. And even though maybe the paparazzi might say, okay, this one or that one is with a mystery guy, but it's not an ongoing storyline about their life.
Like, what are your tips for taking care of the relationship? How do you keep things fresh in your 20 plus years of marriage? Like, is it communication? Is it date night? Like, what do you do consciously to like keep things fun and fresh?
So,
because you're a Sagittarius, I know you do it.
Right. I definitely do it. First of all, I always love to create experiences to have something to look forward to. Okay. Whether it's something as simple, like you said, as a date night, let's plan a trip for the weekend, but let's always feel like I know if something's bothering me throughout the day. And let's say maybe during his workday might not be the best time to speak to him, because timing is also everything. I would send him a text message and be like, hi, honey, you know, just let me know when you have some time. Maybe when you get home, would love to really like chat about this. It either is weighing on my mind. You know, it's the way you also approach someone. You know, it's like anything else. It's like any relationship. When you come with someone like and guns are blazing and your defense goes completely up, then they're in defense mode. Like, they're going to like start firing back at you when you were firing something at them. You know, as far as the same thing with your significant other, it should be it's how you frame the situation, right? You have to be smart enough to know what makes them tick, right? Remember, this is a person you love. You don't want to get them all upset for no reason, because it comes back to you too.
Yeah. And it sounds, that to me, what you're describing sounds a lot like having respect. Like, you wouldn't come to your friend or your boss or, you know, someone that you're wanting to impress is what you wouldn't come to them with guns blazing and yell at them. So it's like, we should be on our best behavior, you know, authentic, but also
even
on our best behavior with the person we love the most. That
even more so.
Sense. That's such a great perspective.
My husband always taught me something. He said to me, you know, here we are, and we go and we want to impress the CEO, and we want to impress, you know, all these people in high positions and our boss, and whether it's whoever it might be that we find impressive, right?
Yeah.
He always said to me, he's like, at the end of the day, and when you have children, he goes, those are the most amazing people you meet in your life are your own children, right?
Totally.
Treat them the way that better than you would want to treat the CEO of a company or your boss or whoever, like I said, might be of someone of some kind of importance to you.
Yeah. I love that, Rori. That is such a beautiful perspective and mindset shift that we can all take with us. And just because we need reminders. I mean, hey, we all get a little, we get mad, but that's a great reminder because I think that keeps people happy. You want the person you love to be happy and to feel respected. That's what we all want at the end of the day, to feel loved, respected. And
what you're saying is also, it's like you're saying love, respected, validated, appreciated, right? It's always nice to tell that person, I love you, right? Like you could never hear that enough.
Yes. Always remember to say, I love you. I love that. I'm like writing this down over here because these are just good things that we can forget. We get busy. We forget that relationship maintenance is super important if we want that loving relationship. So as far as and we want it to last, we do. As far as wanting to, find the right person, I know your book, you talk a lot about the method that you guys use and what to look for, how to find that partner. Can you give me like 2 of your biggest green flags when it comes to a relationship? Because we hear about the red flags.
Right, exactly.
Green flags. What are go-aheads?
I think when you meet someone and it's like almost like you can be sitting with them, whether it's for an hour, 2 or 3, and it's like, wow, that went by so fast. The chemistry, the conversation was so fluid. It was so natural. It felt so good. Wow. That to me is definitely a big indicator. Also,
okay, I love that.
Also, I think that and I know this might sound really cheesy, but it's really true. I know that I knew my husband was the person for me because I just wanted to be better. I just wanted to do things that I never did before to look at myself and to be a better person. Because I'm like, I'm so lucky. When you feel that you're actually the lucky one in a good way, not because the person has a ton of money or not because the person has a ton of fame. It's because, you know what? I'm so lucky that this person chose me, but because they make me a better version of me.
Yes, 100%. So it's that feeling lucky. It's knowing that, this person really is someone that you can spend time with, that you feel at ease with. I love those green flags. And I think sometimes, especially with the online dating and everybody's going so quickly these days in life, things are just speeding up. I feel like that is not helpful for a relationship, which is why going to someone like you, almost like an old school style matchmaker who can really, you can entrust with this part of your life and you can get feedback. And it's almost like, just someone that has your back in the dating world. I think it is so helpful. So if someone wants to work with you, follow you, read your book, will you just give us the rundown on how we can continue to grow with you?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, by the way. This was so much fun. So people can find me on Instagram. People can find me on Instagram at Rori Sassoon. If they wanted to read my book, it's called The Art of the Date, and it is available on Amazon. And if anybody wanted to look into our services, we have a website. It's called Platinum Poire. It's platinumpoire.com. They can always look me up and Google my name, and you can go right to the website. And of course, we're here to answer any questions. And of course, there's also a podcast that I do. So if anybody just wants to hear Raw with Rori, I interview tons of people, some celebrities, some people just like me. And
I love your podcast. It's so good.
Thank you. Thank you. And just people who are just want to share. Honestly, I like when people get raw. So you could have the most famous person on, but if they don't want to tell you anything, it's pointless. We're learning nothing.
I was just having this conversation with one of my friends who is a big celebrity. I won't tell you her name right now, but she's a big celebrity. She interviews big celebrities on her podcast. And she was telling me that too. She said, I've had the coolest people on, but sometimes they're the ones who I get the least from. So that's interesting. Yeah, I feel like that is so common that we have to be open if we really want to get good back. We have to be open to it and show up fully.
Absolutely.
Yep. I love that. Well, Rori, my husband and I are going to be in New York next week. Can you give me any tips on places where we should go before I let you go? What are your favorite New York spots? I forgot to ask.
Oh my goodness. So absolutely. So let me know if you're more of a downtown kind of girl, or you do like also uptown, or you're open.
I'm open.
Okay. So I feel like if you're first of all, New York has been beautiful. The weather is completely, we're autumn in New York. It's fall. You know, a great scene, especially you're a young couple. It's so much fun to visit Cipriani downtown, right on, I think it's West Broadway and West Houston. So much fun. It's such a great vibe. A lot of cool people there.
We get dressed up and do this fancy kind of date night. Love that.
Yeah, but it's also very cool. So it's like fun, but like not stuffy, you know, and it's great. By the way, Saturday, Sunday, if you want to go for a great, like a later lunch, great vibe, a lot of fun. Awesome. You know, there's also Midtown. I don't know if you know anything about like the Scotto family.
I don't.
Rosanna Scotto's on Good Day New York. So her family is Fresco by Scotto. They're Midtown, 52nd Street, Park and Madison. Also fun at night, make a little bit of a later reservation. Sit outside. They reinvented the whole outside. Great music, really fun.
Wow. Love it.
And there's always classic New York uptown, which is Benelman's Bar, which is like a piano bar, jazz bar, and also drinks and fun. And you can get dressed up, or you can also go casual.
I love it. And my husband loves jazz. Rori, thank you. Perfect. I feel like we're equipped now after hearing from you. We're equipped for a New York trip. We're equipped to find love. We're equipped to nurture our relationships. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on, and we will be keeping up with you and continuing to learn from you.
Thank you so much. This was so much fun.
It was awesome. All right. Take care, Rori.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you so much for watching BZen TV. Set your DVR so you don't miss our spooky Halloween episode airing October 28th. And for more of Rori's unfiltered advice you didn't get to see on the show, tune into the BZen with Brit podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. In the episode, I'm also talking about my trip to New York City and how to cosmically align your calendar based on lucky planetary days in astrology. It is so simple. Anyone can do it to give their daily grind an aligned boost of good vibes. We all need that, right? So follow us on Instagram and YouTube for more cosmic content at BZen TV. Good luck in the love department, and DM me to let me know how these tips are working out for you. I'll see you guys next time.